Welcome everyone. Travis Kestner with TK Lighting Design. This is Lighting Design 101. This is a very basic presentation I put together just on the basic concepts of understanding light, maybe to help give some of those of you who are new to lighting and lighting design and what that is, or maybe you've been in the field quite a while and need a refresher, or maybe this is all old news to you. I don't know, but just so you know what you're getting into, it's more very introductory level of lighting and lighting design to help show people what it is and how to utilize the tool of light. So a little bit about our company is we're a local lighting design company out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We create lighting documents to deliver to contractors, architects, end users, so they can use it as a tool to help do their install. Just like the interior designer would create plans, or an architect would create plans for the contractor to follow. It's more of a creative style, and um, to help give them a playbook essentially to follow. Basically, if someone's writing up the plays for a football team, so that way everybody can get on the same page and follow, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do this. Because there's a lot of moving parts when you get outside of the box store lighting, which is pretty simple. You're just sticking right in the ceiling, not much there. But if you're dealing with, um, you're trying to accent a wall or, highlight art, it gets a little bit more complicated. You got to pick certain fixtures, and you also got to work with very specific teammates who know how to do the install, because we do the design, but then the install is a whole nother process. Um, yeah, it's really fun and exciting, and it's also takes a lot of work, skill. So I'll jump into it. The benefits of lighting design for residential and commercial buildings. Don't just see the difference, feel the difference. So that means with lighting, you're not just looking and seeing a great feeling when you walk into the room. You might not even notice it, but when you walk in, you're like, oh man, this space just feels so good. A lot of it is the architecture. A lot of it has to do with the lighting as well. It's very important to have good quality lighting within the space. And you can light the space really well with even incandescence, old technology, or you can light it very poorly even with LED, with new technology. Depends on how you use the tool, if you're using it correctly. Sometimes I've tried to use channel locks as a hammer, and that doesn't work very great. Now let's see if I can get my computer to work right as a tool here. Let's see. Okay, next slide. What is lighting design used for? Sleep and wakefulness. Oh, don't you start going automatic on me now. What is lighting design used for? Sleep and wakefulness, levels of alertness, attention and wayfinding, creating architectural impact, mitigating light pollution. So what all those things mean. Sleep and wakefulness is literally, you think about, we've spent the last 300,000 years evolving to the rising and setting of the sun. Our bodies literally communicate with light. Light is the non-verbal way of communicating when it's time to do something, when it's time to awake, when it's time to start getting ready to sleep. And that's not just like a mental cue, like, oh man, it's time to go to sleep. There's lots of studies that show they even use electric light in spaceships at NASA to help supplement the lack of actual light that the astronauts are getting. Um, they use these way up north where you don't get as much sun, even because when the sun starts to rise, photons enter into our eyes, even with our eyes closed. That's why our eyelid membranes are so thin, is because it still lets in the light photon, and it sends, we don't have to think about it, it sends a signal from our eyes to our brain, the SCN, and the SCN sends low levels of cortisol and adrenaline to our body to start producing levels of wakefulness and alertness. And the exact opposite is true. Um, Once that triggers, I'm going to back up there, excuse me. Once that triggers, there's like a 14-hour period where we start building up other chemicals that allow us our body to go to sleep. But at the same time, if there's the quickest way to crush your melatonin levels in the evening is to turn on electric light, overhead electric light, specifically overhead because our lower melanopsins, ganglion melanopsins, these cells in our eyes are on the bottom because they're only picking up overhead light. So you can actually, I'll get into this on attention and wayfinding a little bit more, but you can actually put the lights lower so they're not waking you up still. But in the evening, if you turn off your lights, then your body or have a warm light, soft light, anything real low, so you're not getting that excess amount of light in your eyes. Your body starts to produce melatonin, and it starts to prepare yourself for sleep. Excuse me. So that's one of the ways to use lighting as a tool for sleep and wakefulness. If you can make it so it's adjustable throughout the day. Levels of alertness, you know, what's used for number two is there's lots of studies that use these in schools. They get lots of higher levels of light because then your eyes don't have to strain as hard to see. And then they, at the same time, they eliminate glare. So it's not just big bulbs right in the middle, big, super bright. I'm sure you've probably seen them, COBs, there's places for those. That's great. But like baffled, indirect light that's coming down, filling the space with voluminous light. That way you're not straining to see and you're not getting concentrated amounts of light in your peripheral vision, which causes glare and headaches. So it helps out a lot by having that foresight, picking out specific product and part numbers that help out to eliminate the glare and add adequate levels of lighting. Attention and wayfinding. Wayfinding is a lot of what it sounds like. It's finding our way through a space. Lighting, I can't remember the name. There's a study they did where people just naturally follow light. Um, that's why it's used in emergency situations. There's a path when power goes out, commercial building, they're required to have battery powered lights to show people which way the exit is. They don't even have to think, it's just intuitive. They know. So in a residence, you can do the same thing, not for emergencies, but in the evening when you want your overhead lights to come off, you have little step lights guiding you up your bed, maybe a tableside lamp or a bedside pendant, whatever you like, that comes on automatically at 30%. And then, you don't have to click on all your overhead lights and get yourself woken back up. You can walk right into the where you're going to sleep, read, prepare, get to bed, brush your teeth, go to the bathroom. You stagger in the guide lights through step lights, through linear lights mounted 4 foot or lower, uh, decorative sconces or pendants, just low levels of light, and toe kicks to help guide to specific areas where you need to go before bedtime. And you can use it in commercial spaces as well. Help people draw their attention on where to go. They literally can do lights in the floor now, lights in the ceiling, kind of really uh, help guide you. And then attention is not just wayfinding and helping find our way, but it's also attention to um, point of sales, in a space, uh, attention to art on a residential wall. Um, maybe there's a specific architecture. Maybe you have wood beams that you want to highlight. Draw attention to the vertical spaces that need to be highlighted, not just washing the space evenly. Creating architectural impact. That really fills in a lot of everything that we're talking about, but it's just it's what it is. It's layering the light. It's not just flooding the space, it's layering. You think about a house, it has a floor, it has walls, it has a roof, it has windows, doors, all those layers to go together. Lighting to create really architectural impact. Uh, you can do different layers, and you don't have to do it everywhere, like shop, garage, pantry. You use the flat panels, you use the strips, you use the generic downlights, maybe other spaces, but um, in other spaces where you want to highlight beams, highlight art, You make it stand out by creating intentional contrast with lighting design. And then mitigating light pollution, having controls when you're lighting your facade, doing the same thing, doing the layers of light. You want that to be all shut off in the evening or dimmed down and or not have just glare bombs shining into everybody's house or floodlights shining into your neighbor's driveway. That's what lighting designers do. They look at all that. They look at the uh, photometrics, where it's going to be, and then um, help specify all that. And there's honestly some lighting designers aim in the field. They charge for that. A lot of what we do is remote, so we really can't go aim in the field, and we don't really charge for that either. We draw up the plans. Hopefully, it's a electrical contractor we work well with and can speak to them, and they aim it, and they're really good. A lot of them are really great around here. It seems like in Idaho, I know, and there's a lot of other cities and contractors that are very aware of lighting design and how to aim and do that with the fixtures as well. So lighting layout versus lighting design. You heard me talk about layers, right? This is where that comes in. So this is a typical lighting layout. This is those of you might recognize this. This is the Unreal Engine training space. Yep. I just used that, and I want to show, this is what it looks like a typical 4 cans and a fan layout. That's a really inexpensive setup. Nothing wrong with it if you're doing it. I've done it multiple times. I still do it on some projects where it needs to be done. Um, Sometimes it's nice, but sometimes we can do that, but then maybe there's other spaces that call for a little bit more attention, and that's where we do the layers of light. Um, that's where it gets more specific because sometimes it's not just the fixtures we specify, it's also speaking with the contractor and having them build a cloud or like a drop ceiling here so we can tuck in maybe some uh, little light bar slims or some narrow 30-degree optic uh, linear tape lights that fit in there, and they're concealed so you're not seeing the light source itself. Um, Another way to do it is, fixtures that actually have a recessed optics that's adjustable, and that's being used to highlight this chair right here. And it's creating intentional contrast. It draws that out. You get a recessed linear wall wash here that's just maybe highlight your branding for your commercial space or your art for your residential unit. And you have the 2 linear light bars here shining out. Creates a very different feel than this. And there's time to use both of those, and it's a lot of it's owner preference too. So a lot of those, uh, the cheaper lights though, the LEDs, they don't have this full spectrum, which is the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Um, a lot of nicer LEDs that cost more do, and it makes a better color appearance than something like that that's flat and uniform. Um, this is nice, there's options. Maybe you combine the two too as well and have it on a separate switch. Like maybe it's a fine dining restaurant and you create this feeling, this atmospheric feeling. And then when your cleaners come in, they just hit the clean button and then boom, everything's bright so they can see all the dirt and clean that up. But then when people go to eat, it's hidden. That way they can relax and low levels of light, not really see what all's there, just enough to get the feeling. And you can see right here, there's light on the upper part of this and shadow. It kind of draws out the texture on the wall versus where that looks like just a flat wall previously. Just some other options, you do some light shadow. That's kind of popular. You can expand your dual linear wall wash, or excuse me, recess downlight wall wash. Yeah, stagger them and space them equally. There's like a whole calculation. You look at the fixture, the wall wash fixture itself, and you can create an even illuminated wall just with a few downlights if that's what you want to do. Wall sconces kind of doing the same thing, indirect uplight, downlight, um, and the light shadow, I like groups of 3. I like odd numbers. Sometimes that's not always the best. This is a good example of uh, the light coming from the ceiling along with 2 60-degree type beam accents to accent your wall, certain spots, and then highlighting the chair right here with another, maybe just bring it back on this wall, focus on that, do the couple, excuse me, rows of recessed lights. And this is still recessed down lighting, mind you, but except it does cost more. You don't have to spend $500 a fixture. At least I don't think you should have to, but you can spend a little bit more. Maybe I would suggest the $180 fixture. That's a lot better than the even $50 one, but it's adjustable. You can aim it. Maybe you can adjust the optics. And if you don't want to do the color tuning, um, that's something that's beneficial for applications like these. Oh, this will just show you the layers getting staggered in here. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe it didn't, but yeah, that was just that. This is all the layers turned on. Got some step lights, the wall wash here, cove lights, and the chair accent. Finishes impact on lighting. It's a lot of times I do a lot of calcs, and then I send it off, and then after that, it's just change. You don't always stay up to date, and you can see this is just sunlight. This is the same time of day, but a white floor, and how bright that room is versus you put in a dark walnut floor, and then all of a sudden that light all gets, even from the daylight, all gets eaten up, and that room feels very dark. It already has some orange walls. They're not white walls. Not everyone's doing orange, but that's our brand logo, so we're sticking with it here. But you can see how much the finish when that light source is hitting it, how much that bounce light has an effect on the rest of the space. Think of that. I remember I did just a warehouse, a typical layout, and it showed 40-foot candles, and everything was supposed to be white. And then I went and walked it and was uh, like 10. And I was like, what happened? And they painted everything gray, and that ate up just the gray, ate up a lot of the light. So it does have a fairly large impact. Um, Lighting and layers. What are the layers of light? Ambient lighting, accent lighting, task lighting, lighting controls is a new layer, I would say, that not a lot of people are familiar with. Maybe you've heard the first three. Ambient is, the light that fills the space with voluminous light. Accent is what you use, like maybe it's decorative fixtures in your foyer, your entryway, over your table. Maybe it's just recessed down lights that are made to highlight art. All that qualifies as accent. Maybe it's highlighting some beams. Task would be like you're lighting underneath your kitchen counter, um, anywhere where you're doing a specific task. Uh, Maybe out your shop, you have a task light over there. In commercial spaces, it would probably be a quality control type light. If you're in a factory, things like that. Lighting control, you use this, and uh, you gotta, uh, there's so much on lighting control. Honestly, we quit doing it. We partner up with custom integrators so that way they can come in and bid the lighting control and do it rightly. Because they install it and they use systems that they're familiar with. And it's really helpful because then that way, if you're doing all these layers of light, it actually makes it so you can, instead of just having 50 switches on a wall, and then you got, man, why did I do all these layers of light? Now I just got to go switch all these off on and dim them on. You just come in and press this. It's like a single gang box with scenes set up, and a lot of it is timed to adjust automatically, or you just press a button to override it. That's very nice. And it's essential for this, what we're talking about, to make it dim throughout the day. Otherwise, I wouldn't suggest doing more than 3 layers of light in your kitchen and maybe your living room, and maybe a couple layers in your bedroom. But if you want the full layers experience throughout your house, I would highly suggest doing lighting control, some type of control. That way you can um, have it be systematized and do it automatically. Lighting biology, and that's everything I talked about with, there's lots of studies. I don't know any of you are fans of the Huberman Lab podcast, I love him. He's a neurobiologist and ophthalmologist. Talks about lighting and lighting health in the body. Um, there's lots of studies that benefit our circadian rhythm and everything I've been talking about how much lighting affects our sleep and the way we feel and think within a space. And you know, SAD, seasonal something, depression, um, is affected by low levels of light. You can get supplement. It's like taking supplements with lighting, get adequate levels of electric light, and nothing replaces the sun. Nothing replaces the sun. I'm just going to throw that out there because the sun is literally on a not a cloudy day, 100,000 lux. On a cloudy day, it's 9,000 lux. You come inside an office, it's probably like on a well illuminated, it's 300 lux. And our eyes adjust, so don't always tell the difference. But when you're outside, you get a lot of sun, and it's good for you. But we spend a lot of time indoors, so might as well light it the best way that we can for our biological health and eliminate things like glare too, the best we can. Can't get rid of it completely, but we can be aware of it and mindful and design around it. So change, these are all definitions that are uh, fairly used a lot. They're a little, uh, what's the right word? Um, Not primitive, but not outdated. But yeah, I would say primitive. Primitive is good, not necessarily good or bad. There's a lot of primitive things we still do, but it's just old language. So if we change the language, change the definition, might change the way we think about it. Ambient lighting becomes luminescent glow, creating a glow within the space. Accent lighting is creating a feeling. You're trying to strive for a feeling. And I've pulled my hair out trying to do this too. And because it's not like it's the difference is like an artist on a canvas. If I'm using just red to paint on the entire canvas versus red, green, blue, and not just red, green, blue, then I'm painting with cyan. Oh, okay, wait, I'm taking red and adding white, creating pink. And again, this is all lighting, but a lot of it has an effect and it's not perfect. So like for example, if I use 3000K in a house and I'm going off on a tangent here, FYI. If I use 3000K in a house and the wall's white, that's going to look very different on the next section if all of a sudden the wall is brown and I'm using 3000K. It's going to look a lot warmer. Um, just so you guys are aware of that, but that doesn't mean like you can't avoid all that, but it's more so trying to create the feeling of like, wow, this feels really good. There's not much glare in here when I walk in here. Um, the lighting spaced evenly. It feels very calming. It feels really cool here. That's what accent lighting can do is kind of create a feeling instead of beyond, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're here on this earth is to create connection and create feeling and emotion. You can express that with well thought out and well placed um, lighting design and accent lighting. Task lighting, increased performance. Um, I don't know how many times I sit at my desk and I try to stare at something, I can't read it, or go in my kitchen because my lighting, trying to read the tiny prescription or ingredients, I can't see it. I'm straining because of inadequate light levels, and then you come in and just add the task lighting that's higher amounts of light, preferably usually like 70-foot candles, even suggested on a counter space. Excuse me, so you can really see what you're doing. But you don't want that on all the time because that's a lot of light. So that's why it's a task. It's just something that you turn off and on specifically for when lighting control, stability, and versatility. So yeah, if you can make lighting adjustable, the sun is the prime example of that. That doesn't stay still. That adjusts throughout the day. It adjusts from 1800K all the way up to 10,000K, all the way back down to 1800K. Sometimes a real warm, wet red. Our bodies are really used to that. Um, You ever notice when you're driving in the sunset, you can't see anything? That's glare. That's what glare is. Or someone's got their high beams on and you get the same effect even though it's nighttime. And those headlights you won't even notice during the daytime, you notice really well at night because your eyes have adjusted to the low levels of light at night, and then a high beam seems really bright, like you can't even see. That's what glare is. So, oh yeah, kind of going off on another tangent there, but we try to design around eliminating glare or reducing it and getting functional light within the space. And on top of that, if the lights adjust color through the day, their whiteness, great. But if they just adjust maybe their brightness, like their dim level, and there's just a static white at 3000K or 3500K, whatever you choose, um, then that would be very beneficial as well. Or maybe certain lights, overhead lights kick off and just the other layers kick on at a certain time. That's the benefit of controls. Um, and then lighting biology, and tie all these together, it becomes health and wellness. Here's an example of the room we were looking at. That light is a task and performance feeling because it's an accent. It's singling out the chair and the table and the clock. It kind of creates this feeling. But at the same time, you need any other lights on, and you can come there and turn that on and sit there and read underneath it because it's specifically getting that direct functional light down onto your paper, and the light that reflects back into your eyes is adequate enough that you're not going to strain yourself. Accent, wayfinding, biology, again, that mounted 4 foot or lower, you got step lights in there that are not your overhead light waking you up, and they're guiding you along the wall, along the walkway. Accent, feeling, this one here up on the ceiling. Um, you don't really see the light source. It's just kind of leaving from the ceiling, kind of creates this angelic feeling. You marry it on the other wall there. You get the feeling glow. You start adding in all these layers. It kind of, you don't really need the down lights. It's adding ambient light into the space. All the bounce light is, and then another feeling and glow. You're creating feeling, accent, highlighting art, highlighting branding, whatever you choose there. And then you take all those systems, and there's a lot of wiring and electrical that goes behind it, but we let those professionals do that. But then this is what you see, the finished install on the wall is these buttons. Morning, you can engrave them with whatever you want. Morning, afternoon, evening, late night, cook, dine, and you push it and it changes automatically. Um, so our process is contact, proposal, meeting, design, deliverables, and referral. Um, so first one, contact. I'm the owner, Travis Kestner. I've had TK Lighting Design for the last 3.5, 4 years. It's been a brutal and fun and challenging process here. But uh, we've definitely been working on, as you can see with the visualization program, I don't know a lot of other people that do that. And we've had to learn to draft up our own drawings too, because a lot of times we're not working with an architect. I would love to work with an architect and just give them backgrounds. Or an engineer. That's my perfect job that I would love. Because let's face it, I'm not an architect or engineer, but a lot of times we have to draft up lighting sheets. So the lighting sheets get like a cover and a lighting, all the types picked out. And then we do wiring diagrams as well to show which lights are supposed to be controlled on which area. And we send that over to the custom integrator, and then they work with that for their controls as well. Then we build a fixture schedule. If you want all that, you want just the design, the fixtures, the placements, and you want to take it out to bid and have other people put in what they want there for fixtures, you can do that as well too. If you want to pick out your own. But getting off topic, contact us. Our website, we have a contact us. We also have you can schedule a free consultation right on our main page. you'll scroll down and you'll see our services. There's 3 residential services, but then there's also book free Zoom meeting, book a free meeting. You can book that and we'll have a conversation as well. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Our website is tklightingdesign.com. This is not up to date. I don't think I have that work phone number anymore. Cell 208-215-1003. Emails tkestner, TKAESTNER at tklightingdesign.com. Here's our residential services. We have the essential, executive, and exclusive. Essential is, just show you here. That's kind of outdated. Oh, look at, we got the website right here. Let's see. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is the website. What it looks like. I feel like it looks pretty good. Essential, executive, exclusive is adult. Essential is the basic one. It's $1.25 per eliminated square foot. Executive, I should raise that price. It's $1.50 per square foot. Exclusives, we have $3.50. It really depends on the job. We negotiate that. I do have to put a 4-month limit on it because like we did get a contract for a big project doing that. Did a lot of layers of light, revision after revision, because that's what the exclusive is you can redo it, do as many renderings as you need, as many drawings as you need, but eventually the funds run out. So that's like a 4-month limit as much as we can do and work on that for you. Essential is basic. You don't get the renderings, but you get the deliverables, which are the basically the lighting sheet packages, which is the playbook for the contractors to follow and install on the bill of material and lighting submittals as well. Executive, you get all that along with 5 to 10 visualization renderings, and usually there's a schematic design that comes out and then we revise it. And on all these, once the final deliverables are out and that's done, then if you guys want to come make changes, it's hourly after that. And here you can see right down here, it's our free online consultation, 1 hour free book. Yeah, you can contact us on our website anytime. Whoops. So the proposal, put together custom ones based on your needs. Meeting after you agree and accept the proposal. We have a meeting, 2-hour meeting, and go over everything on your project that you want to do. Then that's when we get to work and we start doing the design phase and coming up with concepts. And we do the renderings. If you pick the second package, we're going to send over the renderings and the schematic markup layout. If you did essential, we already had our conversation. We're going to lay it out based on that conversation and send it over. But a lot of this is where the labor comes in, where we got to pick all the pieces, do the product research, and put it all together and basically create these custom documents that your contractor, electrical contractor, hopefully going to be able to follow and put it all together and make it all work. It's a lot of it's design concepts too. So it's not just like putting in downlights, we're looking for specific lights, taking measurements of the architectural drawings of like arch wall, finding light that can fit in that, install it, and specifying that. The part numbers are usually about a mile long. I used to work at a lighting rep for JC Wright Lighting, who was a Lithonia rep. God, I swear, I like would have dreams of Lithonia part numbers when I would go to bed. Things like that. We're specifying in specifics to create a specific feeling. It's a lot different than even these are recessed downlights with like no glare. They just look like little holes in the ceiling. This was a spa that we did the rendering on, and some step lights. They wanted to do some light up on the arches and ground lights, and then these little cloud glow on the ceiling as well. This is a concept of that, my background image here. I don't know if the recording will show it, but excuse me, they want some concepts to look like floating lights going up their what's that called? I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, it's been a long day. put up the front of their fireplace there, and we they found these lights that they wanted, so we drew this up to give an idea of what it would like and might be like, and came up with three different ones. One was like deer tracks, one was monster tracks, the other one was floating clouds. They like the floating clouds one. Um, here's some more concept ideas. Art lighting gallery. You're doing track lighting with art with aimable heads and adjustable optics. Just highlighting that. You're not really lighting the floor. You're drawing attention there. Churches, doing indirect up lights, facades, a couple different ways to light the facade. You can do lines of light, where the light is the attention, or you make it so the building's the attention and shine the light back on the building and highlight those parts. Um, Design phase, that's the part where we take it back and do all the drawings that I was talking about. Creating the deliverables with all the details. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you guys got some value from that. Maybe kind of gave you some good ideas on how to use lighting design. I'll show you like this one. This is a building where we wanted to do some lighting design concepts on. We came up with the renderings on. It's a building in Spokane. I don't know if the client decided to move forward with it or not, but it was the concepts and doing a line of light around there really to draw attention to the building. Oh yeah, we can even do a video too. Maybe not. I have another residence I want to show you, but I don't think I have permission to show you that yet. Maybe we'll just do a sneak peek of the front here. There you go. You can kind of see the layers of light, the beams of light, this. And a lot of ours is just the concept rendering, coming up with ideas. Um, but a lot of it is like, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's gotta be a willing install team. If you're a contractor or architect, you've done this before, you know how different and how hard it is to do the lighting design. Maybe on some of these you're like, yeah, I don't want to do that much. That's too much labor. So then that's not what the client wants. So then you do well, let's have that conversation, do the generic downlighting, generic lighting in certain spaces, and then maybe the living space has that wow factor where they want to spend a little bit more, or you can spend a little bit more time labor-wise creating the molding and woodwork to route in those lights that are going to go recessed up into the step and tread and those types of things. So yeah, well, I think that's all I have for today. And I really thank you guys for tuning in for this Lighting Design 101 presented by TK Lighting Design. Your presenter here is Travis Kestner. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email is probably the best way, tkestner, TKAESTNER at tklightingdesign.com. Or you can reach out to us on the website. Thank you very much and have a great day.